welcome to the show. In this episode, we're going to take a look at an interesting lifestyle story and something that's been booming all over the world, and particularly in the US over the past couple of years. All right, let's take a look and dive right in. Why is it called pickleball? The origin and history of how America's fastest growing sport got its name. Long before technology changed the way we lived our lives, people went outside. There was no social media, fewer channels on television, and a thing called face-to-face conversation. By today's standards, it must have been a wild time to be alive. Just imagine leaving the house and being unable to get in touch with anyone unless you could find a payphone and had change. As the parents of today say, we were outside from sunrise to sunset. In between using cars, mailboxes, and other landmarks as bases for baseball or wiffle ball, being outside was a way to experiment and invent. That's how the sport of pickleball, America's fastest growing sport, was created. Long before things like TikTok, Xbox, and PlayStation occupied our time. Without that level of imagination, time could almost stand still. Making up things to do was a necessity. Unlike other sports, pickleball is a weird name. There isn't a ball-shaped pickle being used, and most of the time the ball isn't even green. Not everything can be easy to figure out the meaning of, like basketball. So, if you are wondering about the origins of this popular sport, let's explore how pickleball got its name way back in 1965. So why is it called pickleball? As the story goes, pickleball was invented on a badminton court following a round of golf on a summer Saturday in Washington State. Joel Pritchard, a state representative at the time and later a congressman, and his neighbors, Bill Bell and Barney McCullum, were looking for badminton equipment to occupy their family's time. Unable to find any, the group opted for ping pong paddles and a wiffle ball. In an interview with ESPN, Pritchard's son, Frank, said he was sour about living a boring life in Washington, which ended up being the true motivation behind inventing the game. The next challenge for the group was figuring out what to name their new discovery. There are two versions, or maybe more, of how the sport's name was created, but only one that has stood the test of time. The popular but rejected version is that the game was named after the Pritchard's family dog, Pickles. As for the true origin of the sport's name, it is said that Pritchard's wife, Joan, named it after the pickle boats in Crewe, also known as rowing. That boat would often be the least competitive boat in the race, with a crew that was thrown together at random. It makes for a fitting name since the game was born out of using leftover equipment from other sports. According to a report by the Sports and Fitness Industry Association, SFIA, Pickleball is now up to 8.9 million players over the age of 6 in the United States. That's an increase from 4.8 million in 2022. A league, Major League Pickleball, was created in 2021, indicating the true growth of a sport that has been on the rise since it started 58 years ago. Turns out, pickleball ended up being more than a sport. It used to occupy students' time in gym class and has absolutely nothing to do with pickles. It's actually a pretty big deal, or pretty big deal in America now. I think you see what we did there, changing DEAL to DILL. Very funny. So, let's take a deeper look into it. You know, sometimes you see stories on the internet or elsewhere, and different versions are available, and you have to do some digging to find out which is more likely to be the correct version. So let's take a look of how pickleball got its name. So, pickleball has been named the fastest growing sport in America for the third year in a row by the Sports and Fitness Industry Association. It's considered the sweet spot between other popular racket sports, including badminton, ping pong, and tennis, and provides a good workout without being overly strenuous. The popularity of the game that started in a backyard on Bainbridge Island, Washington, in 1965 has gained popularity for several reasons. Among them are the quick learning curve, ease of playing, and accessibility to people of all ages and skill levels. The sport engages kids in a fun way while helping improve their motor skills and hand-eye coordination, while seniors can play to stay active and maintain their physical and mental health. Very important. The sport is deeply rooted in social engagement, as it was initially created for families, and retains this spirit by encouraging group play, interaction, and partner rotation. Beyond its numerous benefits, pickleball boasts a rich history and intriguing theories about how it got its name. So let's take a look at when pickleball was invented. It's grown immensely from a fun summer game for families vacationing in Washington to become among the decade's fastest growing sports. So, as we said, pickleball was invented on a warm Saturday afternoon in 1965 on Congressman Joel Pritchard's old badminton court. By the end of that summer, Joel and his friends had created the rules for the game after several friendly matches between their families. It was not until 1967 that the first permanent pickleball court was built in Bob O'Brien's backyard on Bainbridge Island. O'Brien was a wealthy industrialist, close family friend, and a neighbor to the Pritchards, and the O'Brien family had also enjoyed playing the game the summer it was invented. Pickleball has grown immensely from a summer fun game for families vacationing to becoming among the decade's fastest growing sports. So let's take a look at who invented it. The invention of pickleball was out of sheer coincidence. In 1965, Joel Pritchard, a former lieutenant governor and Seattle congressman, and his friend Bill Bell were vacationing with their families at the Pritchards' Bainbridge Island, Washington residence. One hot Saturday afternoon, the men returned from golfing and found their families bored. In an attempt to bring some life to the party, Joel, Bill, and their kids set out to the badminton court in the front yard of the inherited vacation property to have some fun. But to their dismay, they could not locate the shuttlecocks. Determined not to give up, they had to innovate. They started throwing a perforated ping pong ball over a 60-inch high badminton net using ping pong paddles. The game was an instant hit, and the next Saturday they invited Barney McCallum, a very handy guy who lived about 6 doors down from the Pritchards, to join them. These three men, Pritchard, Bell, and McCallum, became pickleball's revered founders and inventors. They collaborated to formulate the rules, devise the right pickleball court dimensions, and settle on the best equipment for subsequent pickleball games. That same summer, McCollum designed appropriate pickleball paddles using plywood, ensuring they were heavier and had more surface area than the ping pong paddles they used initially. They also settled for the Cosmos Fun Ball, a lightweight ball made of durable plastic with holes on the surface, which offered more bounce and could be used to play both indoors and outdoors. They also lowered the net to 34 inches at the center and 36 inches around the edges, making it easier for everyone in the family to drive the ball across the net. Through the winter, they also debated about the rules of the game. They settled for a set of rules that borrowed a lot from badminton, considered their court conditions, and ensured that the entire family continued participating in the game. Pritchard, Bell, and McCollum soon realized the game's appeal and introduced other friends, neighbors, and extended families to it. In 1968, Joe Pritchard and Barney McCollum created a company called Pickleball Inc., which spearheaded the mass production and marketing of pickleball kits and paddles. Their goal was to create equipment, starting with paddles to promote the game lawfully and make it easier for people from around the U.S. and beyond to start playing pickleball. Their first product was Diller plywood paddles, and it wasn't until 1992 that they started designing and manufacturing. Oh, let's take a look at why pickleball is called pickleball. Pickleball is a game with an interesting and contradicting naming history. Again, there are two popular accounts of how pickleball got its name: the mushy dog story and the sentimental boat story. Here's how these two theories go. The mushy dog story. The dog story is the most popular account of how pickleball got its name, but that doesn't make it the true version. The mushy dog naming story started when a national publication reporter interviewed Joel in the early 1970s. He shared two accounts of how the name could have come up, and the second account was that the game was named after their cute dog Pickles, who liked to run after errant balls in the bushes surrounding the court. While this was only a joke, it stuck and was heavily reported as how pickleball got its name, presumably because it was a fun and memorable tale. That's a PR angle there. Make your stories fun and memorable. People are likely to repeat them, and they're more likely to stick. Despite Joel admitting it in subsequent interviews and the story being disputed by his wife, Joan, and their two children, the mushy dog story remains very popular. The story of Pickles the dog. Pickles the dog was the Pritchard's cute pup, who many people today believe was the origin of the name of the now famous game pickleball. However, according to the pioneers of the game in innovators of the name, Pickles the dog was actually named after the game, not vice versa. According to the Pritchards, the Bells, and the McCallums, pickleball was named the same summer in 1965 when they started playing the game. But it wasn't until 1968 that Jeannie, the Pritchard's youngest daughter, and Dick Brown's son, Paul, picked up and brought home two cute cockapoos. The Browns named their puppy Lulu. Unsurprisingly, the Pritchards went with Pickles. Pickles lived up to her name as she loved to chase after stray balls that would jump into the bushes during heated pickleball games. The sentimental boat story. Before Joel got into the funny tale of how they could have named the game after the dog, he told the reporter about how Joan coined the name from pickle boats. Pickle boats refer to weak boats made of leftover or mismatched rowers for fun local crew races. Joan was a pickle boat rower during her days at Marietta College, one of the colleges with the best crew programs in the country. Joan's name idea may have been inspired by the fact that pickleball combined ideas, equipment, and rules from a couple of other racket games, just as the pickle boat crews. She documented this version of the naming story in articles in the Parkersburg, West Virginia News and Sentinel newspapers. Her children, Frank Pritchard and Peggy Pritchard Olson, also support and confirm this theory in several interviews done over the years. Honoring the memory of pickleball founders. The three pickleball founders were crucial to the sport's early development. Sadly, none of the founders are still alive. Joel passed away in 1997 at the age of 72. Bill passed away at 83 in 2006. And McCollum passed away most recently in 2019 at 93 years old. Their efforts are greatly appreciated, and the sport of pickleball credits and honors them in a variety of ways. That brings us to the end of this episode. We're glad you were able to join us for this one. It's been interesting. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/Samson King to make a small donation. We appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time.